Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Carnage Reviews. My name is Eric. I hope you had a very good holiday and a happy new year. We have finally made it to the last film in the Phantasm film series, Phantasm 5 Ravager. As you may or may not know, my original intention was to review each film in the Phantasm film series for the entire month of December. Then at the end of the month, I would do a final video just wrapping things up, talking about my thoughts on the series, and then ranking my favorite to least favorite films in the series. Due to the holidays, and also due to the time I started releasing these videos, I wasn't quite able to finish this up in December, so as you can tell, this is now spilling into the month of January. If you haven't seen my previous videos on this series, I highly recommend you watch those first. I will post a link to the playlist within this video and also in the description below. Before we all get ravaged, and not in the fun way either, just a quick reminder to please consider subscribing to the channel. Just click that subscribe button, along with the bell icon, to be notified when I upload new content. Phantasm Ravager was directed by David Hartman, making this the only film in the Phantasm series not to be directed by Don Coscarelli. It stars Reggie Bannister, A. Michael Baldwin, I realize now I've been saying his name wrong the entire time, Bill Thornberry, Kathy Lester, Gloria Lynn Henry, Don Cody, Stephen Jutras, and the late Angus Scrimm in his final role before passing away. Phantasm Ravager opens with Reggie walking through the desert, looking for his barracuda. Reggie is in rough shape. He has gone through so many portals and other dimensions, looking for his friend Mike, he does not know what's real anymore. Reggie finds that his barracuda has been stolen by a man who rudely tells him to get out of the road. It's the end of the world, dude. Just go around. Reggie is able to get his car back, and the thief gets some balls to the head. Not in the way you're thinking of, pervs. A pretty badass car scene with the spheres breaks out, and after Reggie defeats them, he suddenly finds himself in a wheelchair being pushed by Mike. Mike informs Reggie that he was found wandering the desert, and that he has dementia. Believing this to be one of the tall man's tricks, Reggie tries to plead with Mike that the tall man is real and that he's still out there. The film is like one wild dream as we follow Reggie through different realities. It's amazing how time can change your opinion and perspective on things. I was super excited to learn about Phantasm Ravager when I first heard about it. Not only that there was going to be another film in the series, but that filming had already completed, so that meant that we wouldn't have to wait long for the film to be out. I was a little concerned when I learned that Coscarelli was not in the director's chair, but still, I was very excited. I pre-ordered the digital version of Phantasm Ravager as soon as it was made available. There was no physical release announced as of yet. I remember staying up till midnight watching the earlier films in the series, so that when Ravager was made available, I was ready to go. I was amped up. I sat in my comfy chair, ready to watch what I had hoped would be the epic conclusion to a film series I had loved so much. So, after the movie ended, and I had officially watched Phantasm Ravager for the first time, what did I think? To be honest with you, I really didn't know what to think. I really was not looking forward to revisiting this film. I was kind of depressed about it. But you know what? After watching this film again, I think I have a new appreciation for it. And I can say that maybe I do kind of like it. And I do think it's a worthy entry, perhaps a worthy conclusion to the series as well, too. I have to say, after so much time had passed since the fourth film, it's really cool seeing the original cast members back together, playing their characters. You can tell they really enjoy it and they had fun with it. Reggie Bannister, as always, is a badass. He has a lot of really funny one-liners, too, in this movie.
Nice car. You don't see too many 71 Cudas driving around anymore. Funny thing, I had one just like it. I had to park it on a desert road while they took care of some business. Of course, mine had a chrome-plated 9mm loaded with steel-jacketed wad cutters in the center console. Oh, that's right. It was in the glove box. Get the fuck out of my car!
And of course, with Reggie being Reggie, in this film he again tries to get laid. And it actually seems like it's going to happen this time, but he falls asleep.
I was thinking... Sweet dreams.
Poor guy. I again refer you to the ball chart. I mean, That poor guy. He's just got to be in so much pain. The scene with Kathy Lester is really well shot and really cool. It's a nice nod to the original film. And you know, I can't believe that this scene never stood out to me before. Another positive thing worth noting is that overall, I feel like the film is a nice send off for the series, but at the same time, it does leave things open for potentially more films. But honestly, I really don't see that happening. But hey, stranger things have happened. So the Phantasm films have always been low budget. Phantasm 2, out of all the films, had the biggest budget. I couldn't even find what the budget was for Phantasm Ravager, but based on how the film was shot, I know it had to be pretty low. And with that, the effects at times can be kind of iffy. I'm really not a fan of the CGI spheres. I can understand why they would use them, especially for the car scene, but at times, man, they just look so fake and out of place. Phantasm Ravager was shot mostly on the weekends. The quality of the film is kind of all over the place, with some scenes looking better than others do. I'm guessing they probably had access to different cameras at different times, and some of those cameras, the quality probably wasn't as good. My other issue with Ravager, and I know this is an issue that others have pointed out, is that it feels like a collection of short films rather than one film, and almost like an anthology series. It just kind of feels like these are separate projects that were just kind of put together. Now, I know the whole point of the movie is that Reggie is going through different timelines, different universes, dimensions, etc. And I know that Phantasm has never really relied on traditional plots, but still, even for a Phantasm movie, this still feels just a bit all over the place, and it's a bit distracting and frustrating at times. Now it's time for me to talk about the character Chunk. I really do not like this character. I don't find him funny. I think he's annoying, and I think he's pointless. I guess the irony of his character in the movie is funny when you think about it, but otherwise, I really could have did without this character. So there's about to be a big spoiler here, so just to warn you. I don't quite understand why Chunk is the one to kill the tall man. Now, I know that it's revealed that the tall man can't actually be killed because he's duplicated himself in other dimensions, so there's really no way to stop him, but still, it just doesn't make sense to me. Why not have Mike or Reggie do that? It seems like they should be the ones to do that honor if this is truly the final film in the series. Also, we never learned why the tall man really wanted Mike to begin with. There's some explanation mentioned from Chunk about there being like a Matrix type world that the tall man will put you in to get information from you that he needs. So perhaps there was information that Mike had that the tall man wanted, but what that information was or is, I don't know. Also, the powers that Mike had in the fourth film are not even touched upon here. Even if Phantasm Ravager is truly the last film in the series, the tall man cannot die. He's constant, which means the story never ends. So Phantasm Ravager seems to have two different endings, which leaves room for interpretation. So in one ending, we have Reggie being reunited with Mike and Jody and other friends as they continue to fight the tall man. And then in another ending, which takes place in the real world, or what I think is the real world, anyways, we have Reggie in bed, passing away, dying, with Mike and Jody by his side. The way I interpret this ending is that Reggie is dying, and when he dies, he goes to heaven. And his heaven is being with Jody and Mike fighting the tall man. In the fourth Phantasm film, the tall man tells Reggie, "Ice cream man, it's all in his head." So, when I first saw that scene, I always thought that the tall man was talking about Mike. But with Ravager, it makes sense now that the tall man was actually talking about Reggie. Because if Reggie has dementia, yeah, the entire thing's in his head. So it would make sense why everything in the series is so fractured and dreamlike, because literally the entire thing is in Reggie's head. Now, is that an ending that I would have liked to the series? No, not really. But overall, I feel like it's a satisfying enough ending to where things are explained for the most part, but things are still left to interpret, which I think is has always been the fun thing about Phantasm is that is left to a lot of interpretation. You know, it's really hard for me to be critical of this movie too, because I love the series so much, and it was great seeing the cast back together for what I assume will be the final time, because obviously Angus Scrimm is no longer with us. I know that his health was really bad at the time of filming this movie, so I'm sure he was limited on what he could do, and I'm sure that limited the filmmakers, of course, on what they could do. So I'm sure some of the decisions they made were probably because they had to, they had no other choice. So, you know, in the end, though, I'm going to break it down like this. If you're a fan of Phantasm, like a big fan like I am, there is something in Phantasm Ravager you will like. Is it a perfect movie? No. Was it the conclusion we all wanted? No, probably not. But overall, you know, it's a decent conclusion to the series, and I think you'll enjoy it. Overall, I give Phantasm Ravager 3 skulls. Thanks for checking out today's video, guys. If you liked it, please tap that like button, and if you have not done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Tune in next week when I do my final video on Phantasm, where I kind of just wrap up the series, get my final thoughts on it, and then rank each film in the series from favorite to least favorite. What other movies would you guys like to see me review and talk about? Let me know in the comments. Until then, guys, take care. Bye-bye.